And the doctor was amazed. She's, you lost so much weight. You're a completely different person. And she's, I am so impressed by what you did. And I am more impressed that you went to a plant-based diet and it helped so much. How would you know? How would you know that a plant-based diet will make your body start to heal from inside out? So you got to try. And for me, I felt good. I was able to reverse many problems from migraines, from back pain, from low energy, mood swings that I had. It really literally changed my life for the best and for the better.
Welcome to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Anna Zinn, plant-based registered dietitian and transition coach. Hi friend, do you want to regain your health with plant-based eating but feel overwhelmed and lost about how to do it? Do you feel it'll be hard to change your meat-heavy diet and impossible with working, running the home, or chasing after the grandkids? If so, you're in the right place. Here you'll find simple strategies, clear nutrition guidance, and practical tips to help you thrive plant-powered with more energy. So if you're ready to ditch the guesswork and transform your health the stress-free way, cozy up now with a hot cup of tea or listen while you walk, and let me show you how doable plant-based eating can be. Let's do this. Hello, friend. Welcome to this special episode of Plant-Based Eating Made Easy. When I started this podcast, I had a vision, alongside sharing simple practical strategies and clear nutrition guidance, of also including real-life stories of people who have made that transition to plant-based eating and how that has impacted their health and body as a result. Different guests may be at different time points in their plant-based diet journey. Some may have just started recently, while others may have been eating plant-based for many years. And that's okay. I believe that each person has something of value to share that can help support, motivate, and inspire others who are thinking of plant-based eating or who are already in transition. If you've been eating this way for a while now, but have been feeling a drop in your momentum and motivation, this episode is also for you. That's why today I'm excited to welcome my first guest to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. Sandra is a member of my Beginners for Plant-Based Diet Success community on Facebook, and I'm so glad to have her here with us today. Hello, Sandra. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hello, Anna. I'm doing well. And you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be able to speak with you today and learn more about your story. Before we get into your health and plant-based diet journey, I'm sure my listeners would love to know a little more about you. So can you briefly share maybe a little bit about yourself and your background with us?
Absolutely. So I'm actually originally from Portugal. I was born on a beautiful island, Azores, and I immigrated here to Canada around 20 years ago. And I have two beautiful girls, and I have a German Shepherd, also a girl, and I have a amazing husband who support me through the process, which we will be discussing soon. And I live in Ontario, and my husband is Ukrainian. So that's a little bit of me.
Thank you, Sandra. What a varied background all the way from Portugal to Canada to where you are now. So I would love to know, what was your diet and eating or lifestyle like before you made the change to plant-based eating?
My diet was, as I thought, a good diet, but later on, I find out it was not that great because we Portuguese, we love our meat, we love our seafood, we love our fish, we love our pasta, white potatoes. Our cuisine is very different. So I always cooked very traditional Portuguese. Also, I enjoy baking. We Portuguese like to bake a lot of sweet goods. That was my diet.
I see. Was there also some dairy products?
Yes, dairy, cheese, bread, anything that you could even imagine. I was a person who ate a little bit of everything.
And were you active at all, physically active or doing any kind of exercise?
I was active, but I wouldn't say I was super active, but I was reasonable active. I was not a person to go to the gym, and I still not a person to go to the gym, but I have changed my life around the way that I approach exercise, which was something that before I was not into it. It was not a passion of mine. It was just something that I would never put any thought into. So my exercise level back then was not that great.
I see. So, what led you to see the doctor and getting the diabetes diagnosis? Were you not feeling right, or did you have certain symptoms, or was it just a
Uh,
routine checkup?
yes. So I have suffered from anxiety and chronic depression for a while now due to workplace, which took me to me leaving that workplace. And since then, I always felt a little bit off, but I could not quite sure tell what it was. And my doctor was amazing. She is an amazing doctor, and she always listened to me, which was very important. But at that time, everything that we diagnosed was due and related to anxiety and depression. Of course, I did blood work and everything looked normal. But last year, that's when my body was really off. So I just felt it was not my body anymore. I felt very weak, always very nauseated, always very dizzy, extreme migraines. It will be almost like every day a migraine day for me, to a point that I got tired of being tired. And I said, okay, there's something wrong. I always believe that you should always trust your gut feeling. And that's what I did. I had a gut feeling that something was really wrong. So I booked an appointment to see my doctor. Once I went for my appointment, my doctor, of course, she said this should be related to the anxiety or your depression, Sandra. To make your mind easy, we will order some blood work in detail to see what's going on. So that's what I did. I went for blood work a few days after. And then when the blood work results came to the office, the secretary called me that my doctor would like to see me to discuss some test results that they have received. And I asked if there was any red flag. And then she said, oh, it showed that you have some sugar. And right there, I knew, I already knew. So I was very disappointed at myself because my family, we don't have diabetes. None of my family members have diabetes. So I was so disappointed. And at that time, I didn't understand very well anything related to diabetes. I didn't understand the disease. It was like a blank canvas. I had no idea what and how I got to that point. So it was a very scary moment of my life.
Yes, I'm so glad you trusted your gut feeling that something was off. And by what you shared, it definitely felt off with your body. I'm so glad you went to book that appointment to get it checked out and to ask for the blood work. And I'm sure it must have been quite an emotional time for you getting this news and having it be so fresh and so new, something you didn't expect.
Yes, it was very emotional. It was emotional and also mentally, I completely shut down because I again start to go on a route of my depression where I didn't want to go because I was there a few years ago. And because I have decided to take a more natural route a year prior to my diagnosis. When I got the diagnosis, I was really ashamed. And that's something that is hard to hear, but I was ashamed. I was ashamed to say that my diagnosis was diabetes
Mm.
because I did not understand the disease at all. And I couldn't believe that was my diagnosis. So it really took a toll on my mental health. And when I got that diagnosis for 2 weeks, I was just crying every day. And I didn't want to talk to no one. I didn't want to do anything. I was so depressed that I just really could not believe it. How did I get to that point?
Yes, I can definitely understand that. Thank you for sharing. May I ask, at that time when you got the lab work back, What were some of the values? Glucose or the hemoglobin A1C?
That was last June when I went for blood work. And then because I went towards the end of June. So by the time I went for my blood work, which was a few days after, was already July. And then when I had my appointment, the only thing I remember, because I was in such a state of a shock and disbelief, it was always the zeros and zeros. Like the A1C was 11. The fasting blood sugar was over 200. The glucose tolerance test was over 200 as well. And for me, it was always the hundreds. I was like, what? I just couldn't believe it. And at that time, it was not even my daughter who saw me. It was the nurse practitioner. And she went in detail with the blood work, but I couldn't tell you in detail what it was because I was in a state of shock. And those was the only numbers that I could remember. And I still remember because I worked in the medical field before. And for me, it was a shock because not too long ago I was fine. And then suddenly I got the news. I was like, what's going on with my body? Like, how that happened? And it was shocking. And even the nurse practitioner, she said, your numbers are very high. They're very elevated. So we need to put you right away in medicine. And at that time, I didn't know nothing about diabetes. I didn't know how to even live with this diagnosis because I had no idea how to even tell my husband or my girls, okay, this is what mommy has, this is what I have, and this is what's going to happen from now on. Because a few weeks before my appointment, I lost a dear friend of mine to diabetes. So for me, it was very heartbreaking. So I went into a state of shock. And when I heard the 200s, and I was like, what? And I just couldn't believe it. I really could not believe it because I was like, how did it got to this point?
I can just see how you must have felt at that time. And to have a dear close friend pass from diabetes close to the time of your diagnosis, I'm sure it was almost a double shock as well. So I would love to know after that point, after you saw the doctor, got the diagnosis, met with the nurse practitioner, got the lab results, you said you went into about 2 week period of depression, further depression over the news. And then what helped you out of that? Or what was the turning point that helped you start to move and shift your lifestyle?
My turning point was my youngest girl and came one morning to me and say, Mommy, what's going on with you? You act different and you look different. Is there something I can do? And for me, that was a low point of my life because I was like, I don't want my little girl to see mommy being in the lowest point of her life. I never want my daughter to see that. So I said, okay, Sandra, you need to snap out of this. Somehow you gotta snap out of this. And I was exhausted mentally, spiritually, physically. I was so exhausted that I really had no way to turn. I didn't know where to turn, who to turn, because when I got the diagnosis, the nurse practitioner gave me some tools, some websites for me to look at, which I start to do. I start to read. And for me, the diet, the plan, it was like, okay, that doesn't seem any solution. This doesn't seem a solution for the problem because it's basically the diet that I had before. So how does this going to help me? This is not going to help me because if my diet was like this before I got the diagnosis, and I'm still going to keep going with the same diet, but different quantities, that's still not going to make any difference. That was the way that I was thinking. So I start to do a lot of research because I remember on my first appointment with the nurse practitioner about my diagnosis and to give me the medicine for the diabetes, which was metformin. And I asked her a question. I said, can diabetes type 2 be reversed? And she said, no. She said, once you have it, you will always have it. And I was like, okay, in my mind, I was like, this can be it. No way. But the next 2 weeks was very dark for me. So when that morning my daughter was talking to me, I was like, okay, I really need to snap out of this. I don't ever want my daughter to worry for mommy. That's my job, me worrying for my girls, not the other way around. So I wanted to be an example that if you put your mind into it, you can do it. So I start to have a goal. And the goal was to reverse diabetes type 2. And remember, at that time, I had no idea. I've never heard of anyone that was able to reverse prediabetes or diabetes type 2. So I did a lot of research, lots of reading. I spent the next 2 months just reading everything I could put my hands into. And meanwhile, I was taking the metformin and eating per the package that the nurse practitioner gave it to me. And then I came across about an old medical journal about healing your gut, healing your pancreas, about how can you reverse prediabetes and diabetes type 2. Because one thing that I've learned is diabetes type 2, it'll come down to the lifestyle. So I start to be very amazed by all these tools online that you can actually heal your body from inside out. And it all goes down to what you eat. And then I came across your Facebook account. It was plant-based diet. And I was like, okay, that seems interesting. And I have read online too about the keto. It's one diet that could help reverse diabetes type 2. I also heard the plant-based diet, but I never put too much thought into it. So when I came across your videos and posts, I start to read even more. I start to research even more. And then I came across so many articles, so many people talking about the plant-based diet. And I was like, I'm going to try. I woke up one morning and I said, okay, I'm going to do it today. Today is going to be the day that I'm going to change completely my diet. And that's what I did. Completely change my diet, start to exercise every day. It was a plant-based diet. I went to the store and I bought so many vegetables, fruits, anything I could put my hand. It was everything. And always cooking fresh, which I always did before. But this time it was the legumes that I had. It was the fruits, the vegetables, the whole grains. It was everything fresh. And that's what I start to feel a little bit different. I start to notice that I was losing the weight. I was feeling more happy. I was feeling less moody. I was even improving my eyesight. And I was like, whoa, so there must be something here. And I read so much online about the plant based diet and any other type of diet. And for me, I found that the plant based diet was the mother nature giving you the natural remedies for you to heal yourself. That's where I found the key for me to reverse the type 2 diabetes.
Thank you for sharing. And I absolutely agree with you that lifestyle does play a big role. It may not be the only reason behind type 2 diabetes, but eating patterns and lifestyle really has a big impact on the development of type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance. So I'm so glad to hear about how just your daughter's simple words jump-started or triggered your desire to make a change or make a shift in your thinking. And you started doing this research. And I'm really happy that you came across my videos and the Facebook group, and that helped you as well in the process as you were looking more into solutions. I'm so glad you decided to try plant-based eating. What day was it or when was it that you said you woke up one day and you decided that was the day for you to start a plant-based diet?
Yes, that was mid-August. I remember because it was a few weeks before my birthday. And I was like, it's not going to hurt me. I'm going to try because I was trying to go a natural route. Nothing wrong with medical care. But for me, I find that Mother Nature gives you so many tools, so many natural medicines that I was like, I'm going to try that. And when it came to a morning that I was like, okay, you got to start today. Don't push for, oh, I will do it next week. Oh, I will do in a month. Do it. Because if you don't do it for yourself, nobody will do it for you. You have to be persistent with yourself, and your mindset is absolutely important. Your mental health is important because it's not easy to make a change because you're still used to what you knew and you felt comfortable with. So for you to start a whole new journey with a diet that you not even aware of what is involved or how your body is going to even take it. So for me, it was all about really mind setting. I had a goal, and my goal was reverse type 2 diabetes. That was my goal. My goal was not even losing the weight. My goal was to reverse because I know the complications could come across. So I didn't want that to happen because I was thinking about my girls and my husband. That was my whole mindset. I came to that morning and I said, I'm going to start today. Got dressed. I went do some shopping, bought everything fresh, legumes, vegetables, fruits, and got rid of all vegetable oils, only extra virgin olive oil that I use at home. And I start from scratch. And not only I start to cook very different, eat different, but also my family start to eat different. So it was not just a change for me. I made a change for everybody because I don't want them to later on suffer as well.
That's great to hear. So it sounds like for at least a couple of months you were eating this whole food plant based diet. At what point did you go back to see the doctor?
I was going to see the doctor every 3 months. Once you diagnose, you go every 3 months for a blood work checkup just to see where you are, your levels, and so on. And I remember December, I went to do my blood work. I went for my appointment. And the doctor at that time saw me, my daughter. She said, well, your numbers are quite interesting. And I'm like, what do you mean? And again, I was so excited. I don't even remember the numbers because I was jumping out of joy because I was like, I'm working so hard to hear good news. And then she's, yeah, your AC1 is getting really better. What are you doing? So I said, this is what I'm doing. And then she's, oh, wow. She's, oh, okay. I'm like, I'm going completely the opposite of what was provided to me in my first consultation once I got the diagnosis. Because they give you a package about what to eat, what not to eat, how much to eat, and so on. And then you normally have a telephone consultation with the Diabetes Association of Canada once you diagnose as a niece. That was my case. They called me just to help me navigate and to show me where I can get tools and so on. And even the nurse who called me from the Diabetes Association, she was like, I don't need to tell you anything. You're so well educated about the diabetes that I don't need to tell you anything. I think whatever you're doing is amazing because I'm getting your blood work result. And I'm like, okay, that was just June and we're in December. She said, what have you done? So I told her. And then when I told my daughter, she was amazed and she's okay. And then I said, my goal is to reverse diabetes. And then she looked at me, she said, reverse. And I say, yes. I said, that's my goal. And I am not going to give up until I reach my goal. And then she was like, okay, Sandra, if that's your goal. And she says, okay, I will see you in January. And I was like, oh, in January. She's like, yes, I want to see in January just because I want to order a few other tests to make sure you're good with protein, iron, vitamin, and so on. So I'm going to send you for more blood work in January. And then I got my appointment January 11th. I remember that day. And so when I got to my appointment, and I was supposed to have an appointment with the nurse practitioner, but my daughter, she made sure that she was the one being there for my appointment, not the nurse practitioner, because she was amazed by the numbers. She came through the door. She's, whoa, Sandra, is that you, Sandra? And I'm like, yes, it's me. You look so different. And I'm like, thank you. She's, no, you look amazing. And then she's, I got great news. I don't know what you did, but you no longer have diabetes. I'm like, wait, what? And then she's, no, you don't. Your AC1 is perfect, perfect. Every level came normal and your glucose is perfect. Your liver is perfect, everything. And I'm like, oh, great. And then she's, you need to tell me what you did because I want to share your experience, your journey, if you, of course, allow me to do so with my other diabetes patients, because I would like them to be inspired that you can do much more. So I start to talk to her about the plant based diet. That's what helped me. It keeps me full. It keeps me with so much energy. It completely changed my mood. And remember, I was in anxiety medication and I'm completely out of it. Even metformin, she completely removed me from it because she said, you don't need to, you're good. If you keep going on what you're doing, you should be fine. She says, I want to see you in 6 months' time just to make sure everything is still in a good way. And then it should be good if you're doing what you're doing. But she's, I can't believe it. You did a plant-based diet. Then she basically asked me what was my daily schedule, give her ideas what I ate for breakfast, what I ate for lunch, what I ate for dinner, and so on. So it was a very interesting appointment that I had on January 11th. And I remember that. And I think I will never forget about it.
I think I would definitely remember it too. Such a fantastic turnaround within less than 6 months. So you said
Yes.
you were also off of your anxiety and depression medication as well.
Oh,
Right.
yes. I felt so much better. I felt a different person. And when I say this, I truly mean that I completely felt different person because I've never felt, even before the diagnosis, I've never felt like I did when I started the plant-based diet. I felt very different. I felt happy. I felt always positive, always that I wanted to do more. I did this, but I want to do more. And I wanted to tell people, no, you can do much better. Don't just settle. Do your research. There are amazing tools out there because a lot of people told me try keto. I didn't want a keto because keto is a high fat diet. And the thing with reversing diabetes is that the key is to reverse the insulin resistance quickly because the insulin resistance is caused by a buildup of fat in your cells, while the plant based foods will actually help me in reversing that. So for me, it was important to not only manage diabetes, but also to completely reverse and to make sure it's always reversed.
Yes, definitely. Besides the depression improving and your diabetes being reversed, which is fantastic, were there other health benefits? You mentioned your weight had also dropped. Like, what was it before? And then what was it in January?
When I went for my first appointment in June, I was feeling very sick. And the nurse took my weight and I weighed almost 200 pounds. I think it was 196.5, something like that. I was shocked because I was never that weight. And I could feel myself. I could barely walk because I was always a skinny person. Not petite, but I was always a skinny person. So I was like, why am I gaining so much weight? I don't get it. And when I got weight, I literally started to cry. And I was like, what am I doing to my body? I'm completely destroying my body. Well, you only have one body, one life. So you should treat it as a treasure. And for me, when I saw those numbers, I was shocked. And again, I was very ashamed. I said, what I'm going to do. So once I start change my diet, I start to feel more energetic. I had so much energy that I just want to work out. I want to go for walks. I want to go for runs. I want to do this. I was always active. So by the time I went in January 11, when I went for my appointment, because every time I went, I will get weighted. And the pounds was dropping every time. By the time I went January 11, I was 147.1. And the doctor was amazed. She's, you lost so much weight. You're a completely different person. And she's, I am so impressed by what you did. And I am more impressed that you went to a plant based diet and it helped so much. How would you know? How would you know that a plant based diet will make your body start to heal from inside out. So you got to try. And for me, I felt good. I was able to reverse many problems from migraines, from back pain, from low energy, mood swings that I had. Even my vision was affected really a lot. And now I don't even wear my glasses anymore. And it really literally changed my life for the best and for the better.
I hope you feel empowered and encouraged to see what eating a whole food plant-based diet can potentially do to one's health. If you're now excited to learn more about plant-based eating and want to explore how it could truly help your specific situation with your current health challenges, I invite you to reach out and connect with me. Send me an email at healthnow@plantnourish.com or apply for a free rapid health transformation call using the link in the show notes. Let's transform your health and life together through the power of whole plant-based foods. Thank you so much for listening. If this podcast has inspired, encouraged, or helped you in some way to transform your health, I would love to hear about it. Please take 30 seconds to rate and leave a written review on Apple Podcasts to let me know. It will encourage me so much to hear how this podcast has positively impacted and made a difference in your journey towards wellness. And share about this podcast with a friend or loved one so we can all thrive in the best health. Remember, plant-based eating can be easy and doable. See you in the next episode, my friend.